The readings we have today mark the fourth Sunday of Lent, meant to guide us on our journey through the desert of Lent, to prepare us to celebrate the Holy Week and the Paschal Triduum, to prepare those especially preparing to receive the sacraments of initiation, baptism and confirmation and Eucharist. But if we read them very carefully, they also give us a great insight and guidance during this time of great crisis. We find ourselves with a lot of anxiety, a lot of hype. We see it on TV, we see it in the newspapers, we see it on the internet, we see it in the supermarkets. A lot of anxiety, a lot of hype, almost on the border of hysteria. But somehow what the readings offer us gives us that guidance we need during these difficult times. We follow the journey of the blind man from the very beginning to the very end of the gospel. He was born blind. Jesus encounters him, and taking that ordinary thing of paste made of mud, anoints him, and he is able to see. First, he recognizes Jesus as the man called Jesus. Then later on, he recognizes him as a prophet. And then while the man has his dialogue with the Pharisees later on in the gospel, he's teaching them about God, about how God works in our lives through good deeds. And eventually comes to have that encounter once again with Jesus, who invites him to see with those eyes of faith. And he worships Jesus as the Messiah, as Lord. In many ways, the journey of that blind man echoes our own journey, that slowly we come to see with those eyes of faith, to have that vision of faith. And Lent gives us that opportunity to deepen that vision of faith, to see with those eyes of faith, to see Christ present among us and within us, to see him journeying with us in these difficult times of a pandemic, offering us that gift of mercy, that gift of peace, that gift of vision, to see him in these difficult times. It echoes what we hear in the letter of Paul to the Ephesians, that we are called to be children of light and to live as children of light. Our world is pretty dark right now. It needs that light of faith, that as we journey through the season of Lent, as we renew in that grace of the Eucharist and baptism, we grow in that light of Christ, and called to be that light by our prayers for those who have died because of this pandemic, for those who are suffering, for those who find this time to be extremely difficult and scary, to be with those in the medical and scientific world as they seek a resolution to what's happening before us. We need those eyes of faith to help us, to show that compassion, that patience with our family, with our loved ones, to be present to those who may be sick or tested positive, to show that patience when we're on the long lines in the supermarket and wondering what's going on. So as we celebrate this Eucharist, we pray to have that vision of faith. We ask the Lord to anoint us with that grace of his mercy and peace, to see with eyes of faith, to be that light in our dark world.